People in the 80s were dumber than us. They just lived in a world where everything we consider dangerous today was not only legal, but actively encouraged. What if I told you there was a time when video games could give you seizures and nobody thought to mention it? When parents would abandon their kids at shopping malls for entire days? When the family restaurant had a smoking section right next to the kids' playground? You're about to discover things that were completely normal 40 years ago, but would get you arrested today. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why your parents turned out the way they did. Stick around because what happened in the 80s definitely didn't stay in the 80s. It's probably still affecting your life right now, and you don't even know it. Video game seizure roulette. The 1980s gave us the golden era of arcade games and the golden age of neurological attacks. Games featured rapid-fire strobe effects, flashing patterns that could trigger epileptic seizures, and zero warnings about photosensitive reactions. The infamous Pokemon incident of 1997 traced back to techniques pioneered in 80s arcades. Games like Tempest and early home consoles created epilepsy-inducing light shows that regularly sent kids to emergency rooms. Today, every video game includes mandatory seizure warnings before you can even start playing. The Entertainment Software Rating Board now requires photosensitive epilepsy warnings on all games with flashing lights. Modern games use seizure detection algorithms that automatically reduce strobe effects when dangerous patterns are detected. Technology that catches the offense before it happens. Skateboarding. Skateboarding in the 1980s was pure concrete poetry, with emphasis on the concrete part. Kids rode boards with no helmets, no pads, and certainly no adult supervision. Skate parks were concrete bowls designed by architects who confused recreation with gladiatorial combat. The vert ramp era produced legendary footage and legendary injuries. Kids regularly suffered concussions, broken bones, and road rash that looked like they'd been dragged behind motorcycles. Emergency rooms became so familiar with skateboard injuries that they created dedicated boarding protocols. Today's solution? Smart helmets with impact sensors that automatically alert emergency services when a serious head impact is detected. Modern skate parks use impact-absorbing surfaces and require safety gear. Insurance companies now offer action sports coverage that specifically tracks and prevents repeat injuries through wearable monitors that catch dangerous behavior patterns before serious accidents occur. McDonald's smoking lounges. McDonald's in the 1980s featured designated smoking sections because apparently Happy Meals taste better with a side of secondhand smoke. Families would settle into booths while clouds of cigarette smoke drifted over from the adult section. The genius design philosophy assumed that smoke stayed in its designated area, like an invisible force field, separating nicotine addicts from children eating chicken nuggets. Birthday parties were held in restaurants where ashtrays sat next to coloring books. The modern alternative? Air quality monitoring systems that detect smoke particles in real time and trigger immediate alerts. Most restaurants now have sensors that can identify cigarette smoke within seconds and automatically notify management. Some establishments use AI-powered security cameras that can visually detect smoking behavior and alert staff before the cigarette is even lit. The technology catches the offender in the act. Lawn dart welfare continues. While the 1970s introduced lawn darts, the 1980s perfected the art of backyard warfare. By the mid-80s, every suburban gathering featured these metal-tipping projectiles flying through the air at family barbecues. The Consumer Product Safety Commission estimated over 6,000 emergency room visits annually from lawn dart injuries. The games were finally banned completely in 1988 after mounting pressure from parents who realized they'd been hosting medieval combat tournaments disguised as family fun. Today's solution is sophisticated. The Consumer Product Safety Commission now uses AI-powered injury tracking systems that can predict dangerous products before they hit the market. Modern lawn games use foam projectiles with embedded sensors that detect impact force and automatically stop games if throws become too aggressive. Some versions even include proximity sensors that prevent launching when people are in the danger zone. Technology that prevents the accident before it happens. Dodgeball. Physical education in the 1980s featured a sport specifically designed to inflict pain: dodgeball. Armed with rubber balls that could leave welts visible for days, kids were encouraged to pelt classmates as hard as possible. The game taught valuable life lessons like survival of the fittest and might makes right. Smaller kids learned to fear gym class, while athletic bullies learned that violence was not only acceptable, but actively encouraged by adults. Modern schools now use behavior detection software that analyzes playground interactions through security cameras to identify bullying patterns before they escalate. Some districts employ AI systems that monitor student stress levels through wearable devices during PE classes, automatically flagging activities that cause psychological distress. The technology catches aggressive behavior and emotional trauma in real time, preventing the very situations Dodgeball was designed to create. Kids riding in truck beds. Nothing says family road trip like loading 6 kids into the back of a pickup truck and cruising down the interstate at 65 miles per hour. Truck beds were mobile playgrounds where children stood, sat, and occasionally fell out during turns. The practice was so common that many trucks came with built-in benches specifically for passengers. No seatbelts, no roll bars, just kids bouncing around like human cargo, while parents focused on the road ahead. Today's alternative is sophisticated vehicle monitoring. Modern trucks are equipped with weight sensors that detect passengers in truck beds and prevent the vehicle from starting. Some models use thermal imaging cameras that scan the bed area before allowing the engine to turn on. Advanced GPS systems now automatically alert authorities if vehicles are detected traveling with unsecured passengers. Technology that catches the dangerous behavior and stops it before tragedy strikes. Chemistry sets. The 1980s chemistry sets made their 1970s predecessors look cautious. These kits included genuine acids, explosive compounds, and chemicals that could produce toxic gases when mixed incorrectly. The Mr. Wizard era encouraged kids to perform experiments that would require hazmat suits today. Instructions cheerfully explained how to create miniature explosions, generate poisonous fumes, and permanently stain everything in the house. Modern chemistry sets are designed by lawyers such as scientists, and back then, they were designed by people who thought childhood should include regular exposure to industrial accidents. Mall drop-offs. Shopping malls in the 1980s served as massive unsupervised daycare centers. Parents would drop kids off for entire days with minimal cash and vague pickup times. Meet me at Sears when the mall closes was considered detailed parenting. Kids as young as 10 would roam multi-level shopping complexes, interact with strangers, and navigate complex social situations with zero adult oversight. The mall was Lord of the Flies with better food courts and more neon lighting. modern malls now use comprehensive child safety systems. Facial recognition cameras that automatically identify unaccompanied minors and alert security within minutes. Digital wristbands track children's locations throughout the facility, while AI-powered behavior analysis detects signs of distress or dangerous interactions. Some malls employ predictive algorithms that can identify potential predators based on movement patterns and interaction attempts. Technology designed to catch threats before they approach children. Playground equipment, medieval torture devices. 1980s playgrounds featured equipment that would make modern safety inspectors weep. Metal slides that reached temperatures hot enough to cook eggs, merry-go-rounds that spun fast enough to generate G-forces, and monkey bars suspended over concrete. The rocket ship playground structures were 3-story towers with minimal railings and maximum falling potential. Seesaws had no safety stops, regularly launching children into low Earth orbit. Modern playgrounds are engineered to specify safety standards with rubber surfaces and rounded edges. 80s playgrounds were designed by people who thought childhood should include regular emergency room visits. Realistic toy weapons. Toy guns in the 1980s were indistinguishable from real weapons. Cap guns, water pistols, and BB guns looked exactly like actual firearms, leading to tragic misunderstandings and police incidents. Kids regularly played war with weapons that could fool adults at close range. The orange tip requirement didn't exist yet, meaning toy guns were essentially perfect replicas of deadly weapons sold specifically to children. Federal regulations now require bright colors and clear labeling on toy weapons. What was once considered normal childhood play is now recognized as potentially fatal role-playing. Movie theater madness. Movie theaters in the 1980s were lawless frontiers where kids could see R-rated movies with minimal supervision. Theater employees rarely checked IDs, and parents frequently dropped children off to watch whatever was playing. The concession stands sold candy that would be banned as choking hazards today, and the theaters themselves were often poorly maintained fire traps with blocked exits and faulty equipment. Modern theaters have strict age verification, trained staff, and comprehensive safety protocols. 80s theater were entertainment warehouses, where anything could happen, and frequently did. Home Alone culture. The movie Home Alone wasn't fiction in the 1980s. It was documentary evidence of normal parenting practices. Kids regularly spent entire days and weekends alone while parents worked or traveled. Latchkey kids were so common that they became a recognized demographic. Children as young as 8 were responsible for getting themselves to school, preparing meals, and handling emergencies without adult supervision. Today's helicopter parenting culture would consider 1980s independence training as abandonment. What was once character building is now grounds for child services intervention. So there you have it. A decade when childhood was essentially extreme sports. Malls were free-range parenting facilities, and chemistry sets came with genuine explosion potential. We've covered seizure-inducing video games, concrete skateboard poetry, and smoking sections in family restaurants. Remarkably, anyone who grew up in the 1980s survived with all their limbs and brain cells intact. The real question isn't how people survived the 80s, but what we're doing now that our grandchildren will look back on in absolute horror. What shocked you the most about this 1980s survival guide? The seizure-inducing arcade games? Learning that McDonald's had smoking sections? Or discovering that Dodgeball was considered educational? Drop your stories in the comments. If you lived through this era, tell us what dangers we missed. If your parents survived the 1980s, ask them about their most reckless childhood adventures. If you enjoyed this journey through history's most radical decade, hit that like button and subscribe. The 1980s taught us that the best way to learn safety is through spectacular failure, though maybe with fewer permanent injuries than they managed. Thanks for surviving this trip, and remember to stay curious, stay safe, and maybe think twice before calling any era the good old days.